Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of Hard Claim with Viva La Sam. I'm Sam, and this is a show where we talk to people who play Blood on the Clocktower and get their player perspective of the game. Joining us for this week's episode is Lynn. Lynn, thanks for joining.
Thanks for having me.
Lynn's been playing for longer than I have, I know, so she has always been in our group and is there every week, pretty much. uh, you've joined in from other countries when you're vacationing, and
Yep,
and
and I
yeah.
will continue to do so.
So Lynn's always been a staple of of our group. But before we go on any further, you requested Trouble Brewing for your script. I've sent out some characters. You drew the mayor token. Very uncharacteristic of you.
Yes.
So if we were chatting, started day one, what would you like to claim? What would you claim to me?
I would probably claim an information role. So I'd probably do maybe fortune teller or empath to try and to get the demon to sink. Maybe a kill, maybe hit me and go redirect somewhere else. So yeah, I don't think I would necessarily tell the truth on that right away.
Yeah, makes sense. Cool. So, all right. Hello, on the Clocktower. How long have you been playing, and how did you discover the game?
Oh my gosh. So I didn't even discover it. Obviously, I joined the imp server on Discord, but I found out about it from a Discord group. Um Actually a werewolf Discord group, and back in early 2020. So ever since I found out about it, I played Trouble Brewing was my first game. Ironically, did not draw the mayor token, but I drew the saint token. Which is a great first roll. Yeah, I became hooked ever since. So it's multiple games every week. Haven't been able to kick the habit.
Do you remember how that first game went for you?
Oh, I know I never got executed. I believe we did win the game. I couldn't tell you who the demon was though, but we did win. I do remember that.
And so what about the game hooked you? Would you say?
I absolutely love social deduction games. Um, Obviously, I play werewolf. But I think Blood and Clock Tower is much better than werewolf in different aspects, allowing you to still be able to, even if you get executed or die in the night, you could still have a great deal of input in the game throughout to the end, which is a big aspect. I love, yeah, I just love social deduction games. So I love like Chameleon and all those ones where you have to kind of think. Night of the Ninja is great too. I
Oh
love
yeah,
those types of games. So that's what kind of drew me.
yeah. What was the transition from Werewolf to Blood on the Clock Tower like for you? Did you find it to be an easy transition, or because some people I know have to kind of overcome some of their I don't know, werewolf tendencies, if that makes sense?
A little bit. It's a different, definitely different. It took me a little while to learn some of the characters. So werewolf, it's a little bit easier in that aspect because there's not as many roles. So socially, I think it was an easy transition, but information wise, I think Blood and Clock Tower is a little bit more challenging, which is actually a good thing, I think. So in that aspect, like learning some of the roles is a little more difficult at first, but after I would say after like 10 or 12 games, I got the hang of it pretty well.
So you, I think, primarily play online. How long was it before you played in person?
Ooh, um, I played in person. So I don't know how many of the viewers know I'm in Canada. So my first in person game was in Toronto a couple years ago. Um, and Tay was in that game. Actually, everyone should know who Tay is. Um,
Taylor's been on here before.
yeah, yeah, and we played an in person game here. That was actually my first game, and the token that I got was Ravenkeeper for my first game, and Tay was Mare. It was really really fun. Very different, of course, playing I think there's in when you play in person, there's some things that you can't get away with as much as doing, especially if you're evil. Um, like I've always like if I got the spy token, I would probably be like really petrified trying to relay
Yeah,
information off. And same with if I was like fortune teller or something more elaborate, having to like recite and remember all that information. And, you don't really want to take notes so much because then they could see, oh, you might be an information rule. You don't want to really give anything away. So there's that aspect of it. I think it's much easier to play online because there's things that you could do behind the scenes that people can't see. And, some I think that's in that aspect, it's like something it's a little bit easier, but in person, I love in person. It's totally different um, atmosphere. I love being able to play the social game there too. It's just so much fun.
yeah. I so we've been playing in person about once a month, and usually I run those games, but usually about on game three, I was like, I switch off with somebody. So this last month, I drew the imp token
Mhm.
and had two minions, and yeah, communicating with the minions. So we don't stay in the circle, which is technically how the game was originally designed, but most people
Yeah.
nowadays don't play. But we do stay. I mean, you're always kind of around somebody else and trying to relay that information as imp, like trying to say what the bluffs are, trying to say what you want to play in. It's a very interesting. It's a lot more challenging, but in a good way, I think. Um, you
Oh,
complete that
absolutely.
story, and to complete that story, end up being Slayer shot on day 2 or 3, and unfortunately, the storyteller forgot that there was a Scarlet Woman, so the game ended.
Oh no.
But it was fun anyway. It was somebody got a successful Slayer shot, so that was fun.
That's awesome. Yeah, like in my second time playing was actually at the con in DC. Obviously you were there, and my
Yeah,
first my first game I played was in your extension card script, and I drew the Dodashi token, and
yeah.
we somehow won the game. So it was good.
Yeah, it was a good game too. I think that might have been. I think that was one that a damsel one where your marionette guess the damsel.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, that
Yeah, that
was
was great.
that was awesome and great. My poisoner did a great job of poisoning the pixie. So that was it turned out because Pixie got the role I was bluffing at, so that was wonderful.
That's a nice thing about storytelling for people. For years is that I can give you three bluffs as a demon and probably have a pretty good guess as to what you're what
Oh,
you're
you know me
bluffing
like a
as.
book. You know exactly. Yeah, you could probably give me 3 rolls right now, and, like, you'd already know which one I picked, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. All right. So when you sit down for a game, whether in person or online, you haven't drawn your token yet. What are you thinking? Are you looking over the script? Are you just kind of filling out? Are you trying to read everybody?
Um, I don't read too much into it right before the game. I don't really read too much of the script because most of the scripts I know off by heart, I would say, and I'm pretty comfortable, um, just going off the cuff, even if I draw an evil token. I will say before the game, I do hope to do a little like a little prayer that I hope I'm not evil, of course. It's not something I really like. I don't always enjoy playing evil, but there's some roles I don't mind. There's some evil roles that are I can do pretty well. But
So for here on Trouble Brewing, what evil roles would you prefer to be?
definitely I would say the spy. I would say the spy.
You like
I
having
know
that
I talk
information?
yeah, I love that. I try to do it discreetly as possible, although sometimes that can't be helped. Uh, I do, and poisoner would be my second, probably.
Poisonous fun. Yep.
Yeah.
Are there any other what other kind of evil characters do you like playing?
Oh, okay. So if I had to choose, I would always choose the devil's advocate. That's always been my favorite evil role. I love being able to toy with everybody with where I pick my, you know, I don't always pick evil players
Hmm.
to protect. I like to kind of make it a little different and make them guessing a little bit, and maybe get a good player killed and put it on someone else, right? That's good. So, yeah, I just love the. I think that role is super fun. I love it.
About Evil Twin.
I absolutely do despise that role, and I got it that last Friday.
Yeah,
I think I said before the game, it's like the only role I don't want to be in. And I was like, I'll be any other role, but no, I ended up with that. But it ended up working out. So yeah,
yeah. And that game will probably go on YouTube at some point. I don't know if it'll be before or after this episode, but that was an unfortunate situation where the witch cursed the good twin on night one. You were the evil twin, so good twin nominates, gets killed, you get executed, and you're
yeah.
out at evil basically the rest of the game.
But
But
I have to say, there's some benefits to that.
uh huh,
Um, by the way, the people are so good. Like everyone, pretty well, everyone came to talk to me, which was nice. But I was able, since I'm playing out at evil, and I apologize, Robert. I got a hard claim from you. It was beneficial for me to relay that message to my demon. But there are some benefits. But my
kill the you got the basically you got the demon to kill the oracle before they got information in a Vortox game, so that slowed down a bit the Vortox info.
yeah, which was I thought was very, very helpful to get that out. I apologize. Robert's such a good sport about it, though.
Yeah, we've had Robert on here before. The pit hag did try to turn Robert into the klutz,
Yeah,
which also would have been fun, but unfortunately, there was already a klutz in play.
yeah, that would have been interesting. See what happened there, and I think the pig went for I think Barber too, and that was in play as well. But
Yeah. What kind of good characters do you like to play?
oh, that is a good question. Well, if we're going by script, I love being the Slayer. It's my favorite from Trouble Brewing. Being able to social everyone and try to make a what I call my best decision on a shot. Um, I love that. Oh, jeez. There's so many good ones. I love Dreamer too. I don't get that token very often, but
Oh yeah.
I love playing it. Uh, yeah, no, it's and you know what? I have to say I love Moonchild as well. I
Oh
feel
yeah.
that's such an underrated outsider. I think like there is a downfall, don't get me wrong, but there's a huge benefit for Moonchild. I really think that's not utilized enough in games. I think that's like a more upsided outsider. So
Yeah,
yeah,
really, the outsiders in Batman Rising are a little bit more muted in their negative impact of the game. There are negative impacts for sure, but yeah, they're a little bit more muted than other scripts, which fits the
yeah.
script, especially for a low information. Um,
Oh yeah, like I think SMV probably has the most impact.
mhm.
Like with Klutz and yeah, sweetheart drunking, information like the mutant. I think that's more potential for chaos with SMV with those outsiders.
Yep. But I feel like what I'm hearing is you like picking other players with your abilities.
I do actually. I really do. I'm I'm not. I don't. I like a passive role when I'm evil, but I don't like a passive role when I'm good. I do like getting that information and being able to decipher whether it's good or bad.
So let's talk about bluffs. What kind of characters do you like to bluff as?
um,
Let's do an experiment. Let me name three bluffs for you and see if I can guess what you're going to bluff.
perfect.
So, actually, well, let's just look at Brennan. So, let me see what's available here. For a game like this, might throw out probably. Well, we'll pretend you're evil in this scenario.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would probably throw out like empath, soldier, and recluse.
Ooh.
And if I had a guess, you would probably I guess I could see you going empath or soldier. I would probably lean towards empath, but it's hard, that one might be hard to say for sure.
I think I've bluffed all three of those roles. I think I would do all three of them. Uh,
Yeah,
the easiest, I think, if I'm evil, it would make sense to, and if it made sense with outsider manipulation, I would probably go recluse. Um, if I were a demon, I would probably go soldier, I think. Depends
okay,
on what evil role I am. But
yeah,
I've done I was a Leviathan in a game, I think about maybe a month or so ago, and I did I find in Leviathan games it's easier. I did the empath buff and it worked out super well for me.
yeah.
Um,
Empath's good in a Leviathan game because you're not really changing your information much, and you push push on. Oh, both my neighbors are good, or one of them's evil. We should be killing
yeah,
one. Yeah, that's good.
yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, so that's hard because I think I would use all three of those roles.
yeah.
But
Well,
the other roles I would do is probably like I do Raven Keeper a lot, I think, because it's or Sage, something like that, where I get
yeah,
killed at night works well.
yeah. And we tend to play a lot of like 15-player games. When you're setting up Bless for a 15-player game, as a storyteller, you don't really have a lot of options because there's not a lot that's not in play.
Yeah.
This one, looking at the bluffs or potential, well, it's not in play. There's a lot of options. Uh, so I can give you, some good, empath's good for faking some information. Soldier's good because, oh, well, that explains why they're not dying.
Yep.
Recluse, usually in Trouble Brewing, you want somebody on the evil team trying to throw off the outsider count. You don't always have to, but usually you do, and it takes some players a while to figure that out. I think.
I think that's good to do that in like a script where it can potentially add outsiders, like SMV with Fangu potential. If you want to try and sell Fangu World, you can bluff an outsider, right? I mean, I wouldn't do it necessarily as the demon in that sense, but as a minion, it'd be perfect, I think.
Yeah, and if they don't think it's a Fengu game, well, now you have three outsiders to be trying to figure out which one is the one that's lying.
Right, exactly, exactly. So, do you want to try and go after them all or pick certain ones? And it's able to take focus off, the demon, right? If you can do that as a minion. So, I think that's pretty good ploy.
All right, so you picked out a Trouble Brewing, so I assume that is your favorite of the base three scripts. So what do you like about Trouble Brewing?
I do think it's the best script. I think it's the most balanced. I don't. There's not a whole lot of chaos, which I think some people like chaos. I don't necessarily like a ton of chaos in my
Right.
game. It's just nice and easy. If I'm evil in that game, in that script, I don't. There's no pressure for me really. I just feel it's just I could just recite it as nor if I were a good role. It just comes second nature. I do like a lot of the characters, and I think they're well balanced to each other. Like, and there's a good balance between info roles and protection roles, from the top of the script down into the middle and to the townsfolk and to the bottom. So, and yeah, I just think it's very well balanced. That's kind of why I like it.
Yeah, Trouble Brewing really is, I think, like the gold standard. I never really thought about it in terms of chaos, which some people do like. Yeah, that makes sense because BMR has a lot going on with deaths or no deaths. S&V has a whole lot going on.
Yeah.
But yeah, Trouble Brewing, which it makes sense. Trouble Brewing's your beginner script. It's what you expect new players to start out with, and yeah, you get a lot of passive characters. A few get some relatively simple information throughout the game. Some you
Mhm.
get information, and then that's it. You're done. Yeah, evil's pretty easy to play. Yeah, so
Yeah.
I don't know. I like that. I never thought about the chaos factor or lack thereof before.
That's probably why the reason why SMV is my least favorite script, I think.
Oh yeah,
It's the potential of, although it does add some pretty good aspects. Like I, I mean, if you draw the Fangu token, um, it's it gives you a good out. But if
Right.
you're an outsider in that, you know me, I always I'm probably killing myself day one.
Yep.
Just think,
uh, so with that in mind, how do you feel about Batman Rising?
oh, I love it. It's definitely not far behind Trouble Brewing. I there is there's not a lot of information, but the information that you get is from executing. So there's so many different worlds that can happen with BMR, like right down to the demons and what their abilities are. Like there's so much manipulation, and the only true way to test that is to execute to find out. And even then when you execute, sometimes you have to do it multiple times. Like it's really tricky, and it's
Yeah.
it's it's such a well crafted, like I call it, like a little puzzle. I do love BMR. Some people I know might, sometimes BMR can go, a little longer depending on what's in play, but that doesn't bother me at all. I think it's beautifully crafted. Love it.
And I also try to not make it run long. I've had Bowl games that lasted 8 or 9 days, and get it under 2 hours. It's always my goal.
That's good. Well, you're pretty good at limiting that. Yeah, I usually can do that under 2 hours. Others, maybe somebody else might not be able to, but no, you're pretty good
It
at
takes
it.
practice. Yeah. So, Sex and Violence is your least favorite. That also introduces Madness with Mutant and Terra Novus. I'm curious about your thoughts on Madness.
Um, you know what? It brings a different element to the game. Uh, Mutant, you have to. I think it's easy to play. Um, I don't think necessarily like I. I remember one time I was an outsider, and I was made Sarah Novus mad that I was the mutant, and I was in a tough pickle with that one. There's I kind of like the madness aspect of it. There gives you a reason why there might be something going on behind the scenes that you don't know, so you can't automatically think someone's evil, because there could be something, and those two things add that element to it, so it makes you kind of think and be more on your toes. Yeah, so I don't mind that at all.
My favorite Lynn phrase is "Look at the script."
I remember saying that to Guami once, and it was a fish bucket script. And
Yep. Look,
I was like, oh,
I think you were either the pixie or you had a pixie. I can't remember what. I think you were the pixie,
I was, yeah,
but
yeah.
yeah, he was grilling you about the double claim, and you're like, "Look at the script." It's literally every character.
And then yeah, no, that was so funny. And then like I can't remember if we won that game, but um, I think Guami in the end believed that it was good. It was just so funny and off the cuff at the time.
It's good stuff. All right, real quick, let's talk about cult leader. Why won't you vote
Oh.
on cults?
I just feel, honestly, I just feel there's so much, again, manipulation. There's so many people that are bluffing cults. But also, I feel like the potential for a cult leader to be evil is super high. Not always, but I just get that feeling. And I rather not decide the game that way. So if I'm good, even if I'm evil, I actually don't vote up on a cult either, because I want to keep my persona, about cult leaders, in check. That said, I was the cult leader in a game. And it was interesting to play that, but we ended up pulling through a win, because the klutz, I think it was Cody at the time, he klutz picked me, and that kind of won us the game. That's how I got my cult leader win.
Yeah. Uh, I think the only cult leader ones I've ran is either when you were the cult leader or you weren't playing.
Right, with Lauren, I think too, right?
Uh,
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah. That's I saw that one too. I was coming home from an event, and I was watching that. I was like, "Oh, yes, 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 yes." I I thought once she was turned good again, I knew it was possible to get the cult leader win there.
Yeah. Yeah, it was kind of the perfect scenario for them at that time. All
Yes.
right. So some other characters to talk about. This is my list of quote unquote divisive characters that I think it's interesting to get people's opinion on. And curious to hear what you have to say about the first one. The first one is Snake Charmer.
Oh boy. Um, so let me tell you a story. The reason why I tend to pick myself as Snake Charmer, um, the first 3 games I ever played as a Snake Charmer, I played on Discord. The first 3 times, this is no lie. The very first night, I turned into the demon all 3 times.
Wow.
And it was just such a string of bad luck there. I just am super hesitant on ever first, especially first night, ever picking anyone else but myself. I have some games, I have picked other players, but not usually more than one. I'm very reserved Snake Charmer, and then, that might get me killed, but I'm okay. I'm okay playing like that.
And I think everybody, at least in our group, knows too. It's like people tend to trust you as a Snake Charmer because they know that you're only ever picking yourself.
Yeah, yeah. If I'm so no, sometimes it's been a bluff, so then I've gotten away with it. But no, yeah. If I'm a Snake Charmer, they know they can trust me. I think Blake's very similar in that aspect. I think he also
Yep.
picks himself a lot. So
We we interviewed him, and yeah, we something we talked about.
yeah, yeah. We're very similar players, slightly different, but very similar.
All right, how do you feel about Poppy Grower?
I like Poppy Grower. I was just talking to someone about this a few days ago. That is one role I have not been of all the games I've played, and it's one role I wish I could be. I I love. I mean, if you're playing from the evil team's perspective, it might not be the most fun character, but I think it adds an extra fun element. I like the element of surprise, um, to see what happens. There's times where I've been in a poppy grower game as the psychopath and accidentally killed my own demon, which I mean it wasn't great at the time, but it's part of the experience. I
Yeah,
really enjoy it. I think it's needed in some of the games.
we've talked about this on this channel a few times, but my favorite clip from my channel, the Madar axing his demon on day one in a Poppy Grower game.
He picked what's his name?
Bryant.
Yes, yes, yes. I remember
Yep,
that.
good stuff.
Oh, that was classic.
All right, how do you feel about Atheist?
um, I'm I don't mind it occasionally. I think it adds also a different aspect to the game. So like sometimes I think if you're evil, it can be a really really good bluff for the evil team to try and kind of manipulate shenanigans. But if there is a real atheist in play, there's a little bit of puzzle solving to do, and that adds some fun elements. I think trying to be able to decipher whether the story's up to no good, storyteller's up to no good. So, no, I don't. I'm kind of like in the middle on it. I would say.
And a lot of these characters, especially like Atheist and then the other two I'm about to mention, I always feel like our characters best ran somewhat rarely.
Right.
So yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. No. Like you've done a few atheist games, and they've turned out pretty well. I thought.
thought so too. All right, next character. How do you feel about Heretic?
Uh, I gotta say I'm not the biggest fan of Heretic. I I was you know what I think I've been the Heretic once, and I think we managed to win the game. I believe Ross was in this game was the demon, and he didn't figure out that there was Heretic in play.
I remember this actually.
Oh yes, yeah,
It was a
and
Leviathan game, I believe.
Yes. Oh, yes. Now you know what? It might work in a Leviathan game because they, Leviathan can't kill anybody at night, so there's no potential for them to kill themselves in the middle of the night. So
Yeah.
I think that maybe in that script it works a little bit better. But overall, I just feel like I've been on the wrong end of Heretic games, and probably not my favorite role.
Fair enough. One more character for this section. How do you feel about Legion?
Boy, um, I, as you know, I draw the evil token pretty frequently, but for whatever reason, in Legion games, I tend to be good, and it's so maddening, and I can't figure it out. But I will say I can usually figure out if it's a Legion game pretty quick. I'm very good at kind of figuring out voting patterns and how some of the information's being manipulated, and how there's tends to be a lot of double claims and things like that. I might not always get the good team right necessarily, but I do know it's a Legion game. Um, if I could figure it out, and I don't mind it. Now that's at being on the opposite end. You have to be very careful, really, really careful as evil to kind of manipulate it in a way where it doesn't seem like Legion. I actually do like it. I do like it, even though quite often I'm good in it. It's a fun demon amongst other demons. So if it's in a script with three or four others, it works
Yeah.
very, very well, I think.
Yeah, it's definitely a demon that only works if you don't know for sure that's in play. I think it
Yeah.
fits our group pretty well because our group has played so much with each other. Um, last game, I mean, I guess technically Legion's not necessarily meant to get bluffs. And last time I ran it where they didn't get bluffs, and like our group just coordinates quite well.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it's interesting to me anyway to see uh, what the group does with it.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
All right, bring her to this next section, which I call this or that, and we'll just name out some things. So we'll say fortune teller or seamstress.
Oh boy. I like both roles. If I think I would choose to probably the thing with fortune teller, I think it can be manipulated too easily. I think I would pick seamstress. Um and I think I enjoy being seamstress for different reasons. Um I think it's easier to pick two players and to figure out the information a little bit better between the two players. And it's something that's a past kind of a little bit more passive information. You can kind of relax and sit on it a tiny bit and see how it kind of plays out, engage before you say your information to the whole town. I probably, in fortune teller is kind of higher pressure because sometimes you're not getting the with the red herring, or sometimes it's just it can be manipulated if you're
Yeah.
with different other aspects. So I think seamstress, yeah, for that reason.
The Trouble Brewing, I think, treats Fortune Teller in an interesting way because Fortune Teller is obviously a very powerful
Hmm.
character who is nerfed by its own red herring. The drunk, it could be the drunk, could be
Yeah.
poisoned, could hit a recluse.
Yeah.
So
Oh yeah, all that. Yeah, all that
yeah,
exactly.
and that's also why often on custom scripts it tends to be overpowered because they don't always include all of those misdirections. Fortune teller, mostly you really want to know more than a yes.
Oh, absolutely. I do remember being fortune teller, and we won this game. I can't remember who the demon was, but I got a no. I was alive to almost the end, and I got a no on my first three picks,
Oh,
which was crazy. And I was able to, and I was sober, so it was able to figure out who the demon was pretty quickly. But very rare does that happen. Usually, I get more than one yes, so it's trickier.
Meanwhile, I remember running a game with Jeremy. I think he was the drunk fortune teller, but I'm pretty sure I just gave him nose the entire game, something like that. No matter who we picked.
That would be funny. I'd like to see Jeremy's wheels turning because he thinks
It's fun. He's a fun player to have around, and
yeah, for sure.
especially if he's drunk or poisoned, I mess with him just a little bit, and it's
He
good.
gets his wheels. I can see his like the steam coming out of his head sometimes trying to think information through.
All right, so next couple of characters, we'll go with Mayor or Village Idiot.
Ooh,
So I know you've been the Village Idiot a few times already.
I have been. Yeah, I like both. Oh, you know me. So both have a good aspect. So my problem with Mare is at least from personal perspective, it's really hard to make it to the final three situation without to be believed at that.
Yeah,
Village Idiot, the drawback is there could be a drunk, right? And you're not sure if your information is being manipulated in that respect or not. But that said, I think I would probably still choose Village Idiot because, oh, for one, I do like the information roles, but I think even if you are drunk, you can figure that out. Not pretty quickly, but you can figure it out by talking to people and reading them and things like that. I I like that. You know me. I like the information roles. I am a sucker for them. So
yeah, yeah. Mayor, I think, has an interesting place on Trouble Brewing, basically for exactly the reason you just said. Again, it's a beginner script, so lots of stuff we're trying to teach you fundamentals. So the mayor is trying to teach you, okay, how do I not be completely open about what I am, but also get to the final three and have people trust me? And it's a very hard
right.
needle to thread.
It
Yeah,
is. It really is. And it has some amazing abilities, like the two, being able to get bounced off of and that final three capability. And sometimes that final three capability is, if you know it's not poisoner game and you're not the drunk, it's really, really powerful to have for sure.
yeah. All right, we'll go with some outsiders now. How about Recluse or Mutant?
Um, I like Recluse a little bit better, I think. I know there's a little bit more um potential it's just to be seen from an empath or a fortune teller and pings investigator. Maybe that's a good play actually, but I think I enjoy playing recluse a little bit more. I'm a little bit more relaxed playing that role.
Makes sense.
Mutant, I really have to go out of the way to convince town that I'm not an outsider, right?
Right.
So I think I enjoy playing recluse a little bit more.
How about Butler or Zealot?
Oh, I'm not the biggest Butler fan. So probably Zealot. Because sometimes I think this happened to a game recently. An honest mistake. I forget to I put up my hand and accidentally without um and I
Something
think
that surprisingly doesn't happen very often, but
really
yeah,
I'm surprised by that. I I felt so bad that game, the game we played a few weeks back, and Jeremy was the confirmed virgin, and it made sense for me to pick him, and I thought he put up his hand on somebody, and I
yeah,
just put my hand up,
yeah. I knew
and
it was a genuine mistake. Somebody in chat was asking about it, and I was like, yeah, I couldn't. Honestly, I don't normally pay attention. I just expect players to do it, but you also just kind of like figured it out on your own. So I was like, I don't need to tell her anything. She she knows what she
yeah,
did.
and I even mentioned it too because Nina had sent me a message. She's like, "Did you just vote?" And I'm like, "Oh shoot, I think I did."
No, it
But yeah,
really is a pretty rare thing, so I don't worry about it very much, to be honest. But
okay.
but I get why a lot of people don't like it for that reason.
I think it's a hindrance to town in especially later game when say you're still alive and the player you pick just dies in the night or something, and like it's you only have you basically only have the one vote theirs, right? Like it's such a well, that's why it's an outsider, right? I mean, there
Yep.
is some drawbacks to it. So yeah, I think I like Zella a little bit better.
So going on to some minions. How about Mephiles or
Oh, um, if I'm evil, I probably like Mephiles a little bit better. I like getting that extra evil. I know who I can go to count on to, you know.
another another advantage of playing with the same people over and over again?
Yeah, I can know three people off the bat that I can go to. That they'll turn evil no problem. Guami, Jen, and Jeremy. If I go to any three of them, I know they will jump on that. So I think if I'm evil, I really, really like that. And when I'm good, not necessarily. Um, Boom Dandy, I think you have to play a certain way to get it to proc. Like you can't seem overzealous. I think actually, you know what? That's the one evil role I think I play very well because most times I don't want to die, and if I play off that well, usually I could set it off. But I think I like Mephiles like maybe a hair better.
I haven't ran Mephiles in a while. I found a script with it.
That's true,
Uh,
actually.
I can also attest to your Boom Dandy prowess because at Clocktower Con last year, 2020, yeah,
Yep.
uh, we played Extension Cord. I was playing in the game. Manny was running it. You were the Boom Dandy, and we got you executed. Something you were saying just didn't seem like it added up. And we're like, well, let's execute her, and then boom. I think we actually the good ended up winning, if I'm not mistaken. But nevertheless, Boom Dandy is a fun, especially in well, really both online and in person. But things are a little different in person. It's fun to just get that like, oh, and you die, and you die, and you die, yeah.
It is pretty fun in person, and I do. And I think if I'm not mistaken, I think Guami nominated me in that game.
Might be.
I could be wrong, but I loved it because I was claiming recluse and
Yeah,
like
that's what I was
it doesn't make
thinking.
yeah, it's like that doesn't make any sense. You should want to. I'm like I don't want to die. I'm good, and like no no one believed it. And I play up that persona a lot, and
Right.
like it works well for Boom Dandy or even Goblin a little bit too, to an extent.
All right. Couple more minions here. How about Marionette or Widow?
I like Widow better. I think I've been the marionette so much lately. I guess I just don't like the aspect of finding out that I'm the marionette. But I like the Widow's. It's a like an extra spy. A little bit more. I and when I'm the widow, I don't mind. I don't usually self poison. I just poison somebody and just if someone has to see the ping, I'm okay with that. I think adds a little bit extra. I think it's a little bit better minion.
Yeah.
I think it's too easy with the marionette to spot the demon potentially with if they get certain information.
Yeah, it would be tricky. It really depends on the script.
Mhm.
All right, so let's think about some demons here. How about Poe or Zombul?
I probably would pick. They're both good. I think I would probably pick the Poe just because of the supercharge ability with the 0 to 3. That said, Zambul, that's right, is a good demon too. With it's good, especially if you have your devil's advocate and like a mastermind in play. I think it adds even more
Right.
fun to it to the character. But I think yeah, I think I love the idea of being able to kill three people with a bow
Yeah,
on
that's good.
supercharge.
All right, couple more demons here. How about Imp or Fangu? Both characters we've talked about.
Ooh, that's a tough one. If I had to be a demon, see, Poe would be my third. If I had to be a demon, it would be either Imp or Fangu. I don't know. Can there be a tie on this one? No? Okay.
You answer it however you want.
I think they both are good. I think the Imp's ability to be able to star pass. I think having the Scarlet Woman in play potentially. It's a very simple demon, but it's a very effective one. Fangu, uh, to be able to add next, to jump into an outsider, add an extra evil, completely wonderful. Honestly, they're both two of my favorite demons if I had to be a demon, so I think they're both good.
Sounds like I did well asking questions.
Yeah.
All right, we have one final question here for you.
Yes.
And looking at the script here, Trouble Brewing, which of these characters would you like to be in real life?
Oh, wow, that's a good question. Well, I would say not the mayor, because even though I drew the mayor token, I think there's too much pressure. I would probably say the empath, just because I would love being able to actually truly read people's feelings and thoughts. I think it's a good power.
All right, awesome. Well, Lynn, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Uh, all right, and thank you all for watching. We'll be back next week with another episode of Hard Claim.